Children learn more from what you are than what you teach. Believe in life. Always human beings will progress to greater, broader, and fuller life. The worker must work for the glory of his handiwork, not simply for pay. The thinker must think for truth, not for fame. Either America will destroy ignorance or ignorance will destroy the United States. Herein lies the tragedy of the age, not that men are poor, all men know something of poverty, not that men are wicked, who is good, not that men are ignorant, what is truth, nay, but that men know so little of men. My morals were sound, even a bit puritanic, but when a hide-bound old deacon inveighed against dancing I rebelled. By the time of graduation I was still a believer in Orthodox religion, but had strong questions which were encouraged at Harvard. In Germany I became a free thinker, and when I came to teach at an Orthodox Methodist Negro school I was soon regarded with suspicion, especially when I refused to lead the students in public prayer. When I became head of a department at Atlanta, the engagement was held up because again I balked at leading in prayer. I refused to teach Sunday school. When Archdeacon Henry Phillips, my last rector, died, I flatly refused again to join any church or sign any church creed. From my 30th year on, I have increasingly regarded the church as an institution which defended such evils as slavery, color caste, exploitation of labor, and war. I think the greatest gift of the Soviet Union to modern civilization was the dethronement of the clergy and the refusal to let religion be taught in the public schools. There is but one coward on earth, and that is the coward that dare not know. The cost of liberty is less than the price of repression. The world still wants to ask that a woman primarily be pretty, and if she is not, the mob pouts and asks querulously, "What else are women for?" One ever feels his two-ness, an American, a Negro, two souls, two thoughts, two unreconciled strivings, two warring ideals in one dark body, whose strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder. The history of the American Negro is the history of the strife, this longing to attain self-conscious manhood, to merge his double self into a better and truer self. In this merging he wishes neither of the older selves to be lost. He simply wishes to make it possible for a man to be both a Negro and an American. Ignorance is a cure for nothing. The theology of the average colored church is basing itself far too much upon hell and damnation, upon an attempt to scare people into being decent and threatening them with the terrors of death and punishment. We are still trained to believe a good deal that is simply childish in theology. The outward and visible punishment of every wrong deed that men do, the repeated declaration that anything can be gotten by anyone at any time by prayer. Essay entitled On Christianity, published posthumously. How shall integrity face oppression? What shall honesty do in the face of deception? Decency in the face of insult, self-defense before blows. How shall desert and accomplishment meet despising, detraction, and lies? What shall virtue do to meet brute force? There are so many answers and so contradictory, and such differences for those on the one hand who meet questions similar to this once a year or once a decade, and those who face them hourly and daily. I believe that all men, black, brown, and white, are brothers. After the Egyptian and Indian, the Greek and Roman, the Teuton and Mongolian, the Negro is a sort of seventh son, born with a veil and gifted with second sight in this American world, a world which yields him no true self-consciousness, but only lets him see himself through the revelation of the other world. It is a peculiar sensation, this double consciousness, this sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others, of measuring one by the tape of a world that looks on in amused contempt and pity. One ever feels his two-ness, an American, a Negro, two thoughts, two unreconciled strivings, two warring ideals in one dark body, whose dogged strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder. The history of the American Negro is the history of the strife, this longing to attain self-conscious manhood, to merge his double self into a better and truer self. What do nations care about the cost of war, if by spending a few hundred millions in steel and gunpowder they can gain 1,000 millions in diamonds and cocoa? Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes the harvest and the playtime. The South believed an educated Negro to be a dangerous Negro, and the South was not wholly wrong, for education among all kinds of men always has had, and always will have, an element of danger and revolution, of dissatisfaction and discontent. Nevertheless, men strive to know. Perhaps the most extraordinary characteristic of current America is the attempt to reduce life to buying and selling. Life is not love unless love is sex and bought and sold. Life is not knowledge save knowledge of technique, of science for destruction. Life is not beauty except beauty for sale. Life is not art unless its price is high and it is sold for profit. All life is production for profit, and for what is profit but for buying and selling again? Honest and earnest criticism from those whose interests are most nearly touched. Criticism of writers by readers, of government by those governed, of leaders by those led. This is the soul of democracy and the safeguard of modern society. To the real question, how does it feel to be a problem? I answer seldom a word. The problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line,